Welcome to the Kentucky Bankers Association Vendor Viewpoint podcast, where we bring together Kentucky bankers and the industry's top vendor solution providers to discuss important topics that affect your bank. On today's podcast, Selina Parrish, KBA's Director of Membership, Products and Services, sits down with Norma Carroll of Investors Title and the chairman of 3 title insurance agencies to discuss why they made the decision to join the multi-bank owned title insurance program and their experience and successes following. Thanks so much for joining us today, and Selina, I'm turning it over to you.
Welcome, audience, to Vendor Viewpoint. I'm Selina Parrish, KBA Director of Membership, Products and Services. Today, I'm pleased to have Norma Carroll, Vice President, Multi-State Marketing with Investors Title Insurance Company. Also with us today is Hank Allen, Chairman of Commercial Bank West Liberty, Alex Cook, President, CEO with Hearthside Bank in Middlesboro, and also David Hobbs, President at River City Bank in Louisville. Thank you all so much for being on today's podcast. Since 2000, Investors Title has been endorsed by KBA, and they manage our 3 KBA bank-owned title agencies. Norma, it is hard to believe that we've had 22 exciting years of working together and growing the title insurance program here in Kentucky. So give us some information on Investors Title and all the work you're doing here in Kentucky with the 3 agencies.
Selina, we have worked with the KBA since 2000, and we certainly have enjoyed our relationship and continue to do with Ballard Cassidy and Deborah and Selina. And they did their research on Investors Title many years ago and continue to do it annually. We are an industry leader in financial stability, profitability, and growth, and now we're approaching our 5 decades of being in the title insurance business and helping our lender partners. You know, title insurance is just really an extension of real estate lending that all of our banks are doing. It's a significant source of fee income, non-interest fee income for all of our banks. Each agency in Kentucky pays quarterly distributions and has from the first day we opened. And that income is significant. Last year, we paid back over $1 million in all 3 of the Kentucky agencies. And this year, we're on track to do the same thing. It's also a benefit to the bank's clients with better service, with the opportunity for the loan officers to know more about title insurance and explain that to their clients and realize that their home is the largest investment they'll probably ever have, and title insurance is really not that expensive, and it's a one-time fee. Again, we're celebrating 50 years, and we're doing business with banks of all sizes, and that's certainly true in Kentucky. We have small banks, very small, and then we have very large banks, and all of it comes together to work very well in each of the agencies. Investors Title, our strength and our stability goes unsurpassed. AM Best rates us as A excellent, and Dematec gives us an A double prime rating. When you think about title insurance and you think, well, who's going to pay the claims when something happens? Rest assured that Investors Title negotiates and pays all the claims for the agencies. And we were able to begin in 2001 in Lexington, Kentucky, with Bankers Title Central Kentucky there. Hank Allen's our chairman there. And again, we opened in 2001, and we've been doing business there in that same location now for over 20 years. Hank, would you share some of your experiences of being in the title agency?
I'll be glad to. Thank you, Norma. Thanks for having me on today's podcast. As Norma mentioned, the agency is over 20 years old. Though my bank, Commercial Bank of West Liberty, was not a founding member, we joined just a few weeks thereafter. And we feel very fortunate to have that opportunity. We are one of the smaller community banks in the agency, but then with Community Trust Bank being one of the larger domiciled banks in Kentucky as part of the agency, I think it's just a testament to the work that's being done by Investors Title, regardless of the size of the institution. It was a great opportunity for us to offer a product 20 years ago that was not very prevalent, particularly in Eastern Kentucky, title insurance. And we were fortunate to have that opportunity to bring that product to our customer base. And it gave them protection, as Norma mentioned, that they were protecting their most important and usually their largest asset. With Investors Title and Bankers Title of Central Kentucky, with Christy Ellis there, the company and the agency both provide just unparalleled support and service. The continuing education for our staff never ceases. And efficiently, with attention to detail, all legal, tax, financial reporting is timely, and it's always done with complete transparency. Communication with Investors Title and our agency is always encouraged and is always responsive. I think I can say all in all, being a member of Bankers Title of Central Kentucky is very positive for us as a bank, and it is equally positive for our customers. Thank you.
Thank you, Hank. And in 2003, we opened Kentucky Title Center in Louisville, Kentucky. It has 14 owner banks currently. Alex Cook is our chairman of that group. Alex, would you share your experiences?
Sure. Thank you for letting me be a part of today's podcast as well. We work with Kentucky Title out of Louisville. That is Matt and Haley, Jenny, and Linda. Our experience very similar to Hank's, a different agency, but always has been positive. Exceptional customer service from the agency standpoint. And as he mentioned, it's not always been a common thing in lenders and owners title, but it's nice as it's come along. We've been in it since 2003 and continue our efforts to do more, particularly in the owner side. It's nice that we have a product that is so beneficial to our customers, yet contributes, substantially to the non-interest fee income side of the bank. Each year is a little bit different. You see cycles just like you would in other lines of business, but it's just nice when they go hand in hand. It is good for the customer. And I believe all of us could share many examples of when owner's title would have helped if they had it, or did help because they had it. And whether it saves time, stress, money, it's all beneficial. And we've had instances, well, I say one within the last couple of years, and it was a young couple. And because of the title issue, it cost them a little over 10 months during a construction period, a little money, and a significant amount of stress. And it would have helped. And in that scenario, I don't believe they would have lost much time, and things would have kind of gotten back on track. So we probably all have examples like that, but it's been great. The ownership piece, I believe there's about 14 banks in our group, in our agency, and we're all trying to do the same thing. We're not competitors, we're peers, and we win together. And it's just nice to be a part of the agency, and once again provide such a valuable service to the customer side too.
Thank you, Alex. I appreciate your comments there. 2005, we opened up Title Center of Greater Kentucky in Elizabethtown, and it currently has 30 owners. And David Hobbs is our chairman. And David, would you share your background and experience in the agency?
Sure, be happy to. As Hank and Alec has already reiterated, there's so many positive things about the Title Center. It was kind of ironic. It was perfect timing, I think, when Selina stopped by my office. We had a situation up here in Louisville to where there was a large development around the Louisville Zoo. And there was it was involving some inheritance, and some heirs just came out of the woodwork, shall we say. And Title Center, or the title insurance, basically was, you were hearing if you had title insurance, you're okay. If you didn't, you were going to be out some big dollars. So it was kind of ironic. The timing was perfect. We looked at it as a good opportunity to join the agency. We liked the fact, as far as investment ROI was a quick turnaround. Can't say nothing more but great things about that. It was all spot on. Everything was accurately presented to us. two things. Basically, it's a great investment, but there's that extra layer of security, as the other guys have already reiterated, not only for the bank, but for the title or the policy owner as well on the owner's titles policies. It's been a great investment for us, as I've already mentioned. We've got a lot of great team members that we work with there in Elizabethtown office. Vanessa and Karen. Norma, can't say enough about you as far as your response. Anytime we have questions from either investors or the title center in E-Town, it is impeccable. The response time, it's quick, it's turnaround. That means a lot to us because, our clients are always looking for, in today's market, people want quick, they want a quick turnaround. They want quick answers. So when we have to find an answer, it's very responsive. So I can't say enough about that. And I think you guys have already hit upon it, but the investor's title, the solidity, the stability of it, how its rating is, that's what we really looked at on the front end when we were considering investment, who's backing this, because there's a lot of agencies or, companies out there in the marketplace, but, we looked at investors' title, their balance sheet, their financials, and was really pleased with, it on the front. So can't reiterate enough, been great for us. Enjoy the camaraderie. It's a situation, we're the larger group of member banks. We've always been open to allowing other banks to join. It's a situation that not only do we share in the same interests as far as in the titles, but we get to talk about our marketplaces, share different ideas and so forth. So I really consider that as a positive plus to our meetings too as well. So thank you.
David, thank you so very much. And I appreciate your comments there. Investors title, we have zero debt and we maintain way more than is necessary on reserve to pay claims. We have a full claims department that negotiates and pays any claims that comes up. Your agency is not responsible for it. And we take care of you and your client. Each agency is set up as a limited liability company, and that has worked very well. They are also in excess of 60% profitable, and the margins have been strong from day one in the state of Kentucky. It is not a passive investment. If you choose to make application to come into one of the agencies, it's a user group. So therefore, there is an investment to be made. Usually you're getting your initial investment back in 12 to 24 months. And we help onboard you, your loan officers, the processors. The turn time, you will not wait for your work to be returned. As soon as we get that opinion into the agency, we get it returned that same day. Unless it comes in late that evening, we get it back to you that day. And your final policies are turned quickly as well, usually in 24 to 48 hours on the final policies. So you're not going to be waiting for your work because you have an ownership in a company. All three agencies do non-owner business. In other words, we are turning it quicker than many attorneys can do it for themselves. So we have a great reputation in the state of Kentucky in all three agencies. We do have an approved provider list of attorneys. And if you decided to join, we would get your list of attorneys, and probably we're already working with most of those, and we would get those approved and get them on our approved list. We do annual renewals on our attorneys to make sure that everything is where it needs to be on their E&O and the credit report, et cetera. And most of those attorneys have worked very well with us down through the years. As we look at what it takes to kind of get started with this, if you have an interest in being considered for one of the agencies, there's a form that we ask you to fill out, and Selina and I both have those forms. We'll be glad to email those to you. It's called a Bank Statistical Information Report. But how that works is we look at your numbers and we do an analysis and a pro forma on your numbers. Every bank is looked at identically the same. We look at your asset size, but we also give more credit toward your real estate loan volume. And in the calculation, we do 80% of your refinance business. We do 20 to 25% of your purchase business, because often a realtor has already dictated where that work is going to go before it ever gets to the bank. And then we look at 50% commercial and 50% of your construction work. And we take those numbers and determine how much ownership you could have in the agency itself. And then we come back to you and say, this is what the analysis says. Does this look like it would work for you and your bank? because we want you to be on board. We want you as the president or the CEO of the bank or CFO to feel very comfortable with your ownership. And that's the starting point. Each of one of the agencies have a board, and they will vote on the adding any new additional members into the group. We have quarterly board meetings. Some are in person and some are virtual, and we pay distributions back 4 times a year. We do commercial business, and we can do construction business as well. There's not a piece too large that you write that we can't do, and it can be in multiple states, and we can take care of that for you as well. So don't be afraid to get in the title insurance business because you think, well, you know, I've got some larger pieces and they probably can't handle it. We can. We have a full staff in Chapel Hill that reviews all work over a certain threshold. And then we also have a reinsurance department that reinsures everything over 7.5 million. So we have the attorneys available that know Kentucky law in your surrounding states of Ohio, Tennessee, Indiana, wherever you might be doing business. And we can take care of that for you, again, in a timely manner. Selina, have I forgotten anything before we give them an email and a phone call?
I just am amazed at all 3 of our chairmen, and think about the markets that they're in. You've got Hanks Market over in West Liberty, and you got Middlesboro and Louisville. And I think one of the questions that, while I'm on the road talking with banks, can you bankers tell us, how do you confront competitive pressures? Do you have competitive pressures in your market where title insurance comes in? Does that come up any for you all?
I'll speak for the Louisville market. You know, I think most of the banks up here are using that tool. So I don't think we necessarily see it as, you know, a disadvantage. Now we do have some of our sister banks that are located in more rural areas, and yes would probably be the answer to that.
Okay. All right. Alex?
I would say competitively, I wouldn't say we see a lot of it, but where we might see it is in one of our markets. Sometimes the realtors associated with the deal have their preference. And so by the time it comes to us, it might already have a predetermined, you know, we want XYZ title center to handle this or that. And I don't know that I'd consider that competitive pressure from the bank standpoint, but you know, we're all playing the same game. And so we want to get as much as we can sent through our agency. But at the same time, we might still see a deal that someone else is telling us where it's going, and you either agree to play or you don't. But you know, that's where I would see it, not necessarily from a competitive bank standpoint. So
okay, yeah.
I think probably the same way, Selina, that we don't really see competition from other title insurance, you know, companies or agencies. So it you know, it rests with the customer, you know, ultimately, but we rarely have any issues.
Certainly. Well, and how do you all promote the agency in your bank to keep the lenders, to keep title insurance top of mind, or those owners' policies? Is there something you're doing internally just to keep it as a refresher for those lenders?
I'll go first if that's okay. I think it's like many things. If you believe in it, it sells itself.
Okay.
And we all have seen where it helps or where it would have helped. And I think when we're having those conversations with borrowers, and you can honestly look in the eye and say, I personally buy it. I always recommend this. It's not a sales pitch at that point. It's part of relationship banking and helping them down a path what's best for them long term. And I think that's really it. And so Matt and his group help train new employees here. Is part of our weekly and monthly sales goals, and part of our weekly conversations as to how those are going. And if you have questions, let's work through it, because it is such a nice benefit. So,
well, I think Alex hit the nail on the head there. I mean, as far as that, you know, one thing that I'll reiterate, you know, it starts from top. You know, I'm very passionate about it. So, you know, if you get it in the bank, you've got to, I hate to say push it, but, you know, always keep it front of mind. You know, at our weekly loan committee, we talk about it, you know, and, you know, here's our goals, here's where we're at, you know, but giving, as Alex said, giving that example to that customer of, previous things we've seen and how it prevents, them from having to come out of pocket later on down the road. I mean, it's easy. I mean, it's easy.
That's great.
Yeah, I think Selina, it was said that, it needs to be believed in by the seller, which generally is our lenders. But, once I think they truly understand, the value that it provides to the customer, I think it makes it for a much easier part of doing day-to-day business.
Certainly. Well, and that's where I know just the relationship that KBA has had with Investors Title. I remember back in 1999 and 2000 when we were going through our due diligence process, the one attractive feature, of course, in addition to the financial strength that they bring, was the fact that they're not putting any other attorneys in the business. They're focused on the banking industry and putting our banks together as the owner banks in our agencies. And so that was an excellent strength that drew us to the relationship with Investors Title. And of course, hopefully in the audience, we've got some bankers who are now interested in learning more about getting involved as an owner bank. And Norma, how can our KBA members reach out to you and learn more about what you're doing for our agencies?
Thank you, Selina. My direct phone number is 865-384-7846. My email address is ncarroll, NCARROLL @invtitle.com. And if you'll reach out to me, I'll be glad to send you a BSIR to fill out and complete. One additional note is we're RESPA compliant and very much conscious of RESPA. And Deborah Stamper has done very well keeping up with legal opinions on banks being in the title insurance business. And either Selina or I could forward those legal opinions to you as well. I'm available. Selina's available if you need us to come and talk to your board or to your group of senior lenders. And Selina and I would really like to have you partner with one of our agencies in the state of Kentucky. Thank you, Selina.
Certainly, and just the doors are always open. So Norma and I are always available to meet with any of our KBA members who are interested. And also on KBA's website, Investors Title has a page of information where you can also access through KBA's website. But thank you, Norma, Hank, Alex, David, for your time today. It's been great to talk with you and educate our audience about everything there is going on with our title insurance program. And the program has definitely generated a lot of significant fee income for our owner banks. And we look to continue the strength that Investors Title brings to the table for us. Thank you, audience, for tuning in to KBA Vendor Viewpoint. And this podcast is a wrap. Have a great day, everyone.
Thank you.
Thank you. Bye.